Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Nkenna. I'm responsible for everything that goes on here. As you guys can tell from the title of today's video, we are just gonna be talking about mental health clinical. So just to give you guys a little bit of background information about me, I'm a second degree student in a traditional BSN program. It's 4 semesters. We have summers off, so we have fall, spring, summer off, fall, spring, graduate. Today I'm just going to be talking about clinical rotations because I found it interesting after talking to some friends at different nursing schools, their process. So if you guys just want a general overview, maybe you're not in nursing school yet, or you just want to know how it's structured for somebody else, keep on watching. So total for mental health, we had 45 clinical hours, and that was divided up between simulation and then as well on-site clinical instruction. We had 6 different clinical rotations, and each of these rotations were 6-hour shifts. So for me, I was at a level 1 trauma center, and I had clinical rotation from 12 noon to 6 p.m. Each week we turned in 2 different drug cards. We submitted 1 clinical vignette as a group. For the clinical vignette, essentially we talked about a situation that we encountered at clinical and how we could have better dealt with it. We chose to write ours on, there was a woman in clinical that had schizophrenia, and she kept making several racist remarks to the minorities in our group. So we were in a group of 6 people, and out of the 6 people, 3 different people were minorities. So we talked about it with our clinical instructor, and we told her that in the future, rather than just standing there or maybe, you know, getting flustered and walking away, or maybe just remaining silent, not really knowing what to say, flip the conversation, redirect the conversation. Throughout the duration of the semester, we also had to attend 2 different support groups dealing with mental health. So I went to a support group for sex addiction, and I also went to a support group for Alcoholics Anonymous. Each week we had to turn in weekly journal reflections on things that we observed, what, you know, just our general thought process, maybe things that we wanted to learn more about, any questions, comments, concerns, things of that nature. For our mental health clinical rotation, it was mainly observation. We weren't allowed to pass any type of medications. We weren't allowed to go into patient rooms. Really, it was just casual interactions and mainly observation. We were lucky enough to be able to sit in on support group, and then also the facility that we were at, they had 2 different floors for mental health. One was for gerontology, and then one was just like a general population type of mental health floor. With the gerontology floor, it was mainly people with dementia or Alzheimer's. Again, we got to sit in on support groups with the social worker. We were not able to do many activities with the patients because the activities coordinator had recently quit. So the first week that we were in clinical, that was the last week that that activities coordinator actually was working in that facility. The first week we went to the gerontology floor. We got to meet them, got to talk to them. There were, I think, maybe 7 patients that week, and we played Wii bowling and just things of that nature. Really got to talk to them, interact with them. But that was, I think, one of the last times we really got to do hands-on things like that. Every other week was just really talking, maybe watch TV with them, sit in on support group, walk around, look through charts, conduct intake assessments. Every week for clinical, we did a pre-brief and we did a post-brief. In post-brief, we really just got to talk to our clinical adjunct and say, what did we learn? What are things that we were doing? I think it was a general consensus that every week, everybody was, you know, trying to diagnose people, looking at them and thinking, what is this, you know, what is this person here for? Before we would go into, you know, the patient chart and see what their chief complaint was. One thing that I thought was interesting was that we were not allowed to interact with patients during meal times. So during that 12 to 6 p.m. shift, then they would get lunch trays and they would get dinner trays. Because we were on mental health floors, the floors were locked down because these patients are considered high elopement risks. Every week we were not required to conduct head-to-toe assessments, which was kind of weird to me because in fundamentals you do it, in med surg you do it, and then you get to mental health and you don't have to do it. However, we did have to conduct 1 initial intake assessment. So every day that we arrived for clinical and we got to the floor, they would tell us who they were expecting, around what time they were supposed to be coming, and then we would volunteer who wanted to do the intake assessment. And this was the time that you actually got to go through the patient's chart. You got to see what medications are they taking, their history, chief diagnosis. You got to read notes, if they were admitted through emergency room, or notes from previous facilities, things of that nature. So yeah, that's pretty much everything about my mental health clinical experience. If you guys have any other questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down in the comment section below. As always, you guys can find me on Instagram. That's usually where I'm gonna be. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. If you guys have any video ideas or you guys want to see anything, definitely let me know, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.